Ele okay. Yeah, like apprenticeship and all of that. So then you have a digital economy. This is the best time in the human history that to have been born, the internet age. This hasn't happened to people, to the human in terms of the technological breakthrough. It's a digital world now, and it's quite easy for people to start business now. For instance, if you are watching a video, you'll be seeing pop-up adverts, say start online business and all of that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong in looking at such because obviously so a lot of these businesses are real. They are genuine, you know, so you can learn. You can, so to say that, you know, you don't know what to do, there is so much opportunity everywhere. Online, maybe based on your knowledge and skill or passion. For instance, a good example, my wife was a banker, but she had passion for food matters. At a point, she had to resign her job in the bank and started a catering business before we eventually came to the UK. So she was actually not, she didn't study food, but based out of passion, you know. So that passion can drive the type of business you want to start. Then we talk of forms of business. We have, these are the forms of businesses. What kind of form should it take? I get a lot of people asking this question all the time. You have sole trader. What does it mean? It means that the business, you are running it solely in your name, meaning the ownership of the business and the business itself is, there is no demarcation. There is no demarcation between you and the business. So how do you register sole trader? You just register online with HMRC to get the what is called a UTRO number containing 10 digits. Once you have that, you can carry on trading as a sole trader. A partnership, this is another level where two or more people come together to work together through what is called a partnership deed. You know, they agree between themselves or among themselves how they are going to trade and how they are going to share the profit and losses of that business. Then another one is limited liability company. This type of company is quite popular, you know, where you have to register it in company house. What it means is that yourself and the company, you are quite separate. Any money going to the company is not your money. It's the company's money because it's got its own legal entity, legal status. So it has to have its own bank account and all of that. So obviously, because of time, we're not going to go into details, but there are actually a lot of advantages and disadvantages. The many why it's called limited liability is the fact that if the company business fails, you only lose what you invested in the company. Whereas for sole trader and a partnership, if the business fails, you can come even after your personal property. So I think a limited liability company is one of the most popular form of business, which is quite okay. Then charity, that is charity. We all know what charity means. People having kind of this desire to render service to humanity, you know. Charity can also trade. like what you call charitable companies. But the difference is that the profit made by charitable company is not available for distribution to members of that charity. You will only use the profit to fund the objectives of the charity. Unlike limited liability company, where you make profit, you can distribute among the owners of the company in form of dividend. So we should note all these differences. Now, one key issue that comes up, say, if you're thinking of starting a business, the fact that where do I get money from? How do I raise finance? You know, there are many ways to raise finance to start a business. Either you start to save, you would have had a plan. You start to save personally, and or borrow from friends and relatives. Then another option is loans from financial institution. Yeah, I'm going to dwell a bit here. In bracket, I say good credit report. Yeah, this was my experience. I tell people, especially in this part of the world, I know a lot of us are Christians, and when I wrote an article some time ago in our church magazine on a credit report, I said, well, the most important thing in life might be, okay, salvation. Okay, salvation, you want to go to heaven, that's good. The next most important thing is your credit report. I know that a lot of people really don't take that seriously. It is something, if you don't begin to take it seriously, what you can do, there are a lot of free, you must monitor it every month. Because sometimes, especially in some area in London, people, when they get hold of your information, they can start to shop, open different accounts on your name, and that will kind of dent your credit report, which is very, very important. But most people really do not take this seriously. You know, why am I saying so? The reason is that when I started my business, I didn't have a dime. I didn't have savings, you know, but because I had good credit report, as soon as I started, without asking, my bank gave me close to £20,000. I didn't ask. They gave me OD of 13 and a half. They gave me credit card of £3,500. Then when I was furnishing my office, I didn't drop a dime. Staple, I'm sure we all know Staple. They said, come and take everything you need. So everything I needed to start the business, I didn't, but based on my good credit report, that was all I had, you know. So, so the issue of finance wasn't a problem, you know. So if you haven't been checking your credit report, you can go back now and be looking at it. In my case, I guide my own jealously. I will put password on it to the extent that if you impersonate me, I will know. It's that serious. You know, I know that. Yeah, so with a good credit report, especially in this part of the world, you don't really need any finance. The banks will just be chasing after you to give you whatever you want. Yeah, but it's based on your credit report. Then another issue would be don't have an office. You can start from where you are. It's not obviously an excuse. How did I start? When I came into the country, I made up my mind that I wasn't going to really pursue a career. I was going to start a business, and so obviously we started from one room, myself, my wife, and a child. That was where I started. My office was just a laptop and a table space. That was how I started, and gradually it started to grow, and until such a time that we felt that a lot of clients were coming to the house too much, and the privacy wasn't there. So obviously it grew up to a point that we needed to move. So then it's really not much of a problem starting, because right now, as long as you have internet, handset, laptop, tablets, you have an office already, your office on the move, Then website. I think most of the time when we go to seminars and all of that, they will always tell us you have to leave the highway, the high street, and move to the digital highway. So with this, you really don't need a physical space. You can start from where you are. So that shouldn't be an excuse. Then the next one would be, how do I get customer? That is one of the key issues. People say, oh, I want to start business, but I'm not sure of how to get customer. Yeah. How did I start? Through word of mouth, my contacts. I tell people, I say, hey, you know what? I've started practice in the church. I told everyone, I'm an accountant. I'm practicing just in case any job, tax job. If I even did some for free, just to demonstrate that I can do it. So some of these people that I did for initially, they started to tell other people that, okay, we have an accountant now within us, especially if in the church or your local community, your friends, just tell them. It works very well. Then a referral, that is when people talk about you. Someone you have worked for will tell someone about you, and it works very well. I will tell you now, even as at now, 90% or over 90% of our customers, clients, they are referrals. Then you can do e-flyers, 10 e-flyers. This age of social media is quite easy. In fact, this is the best time. Starting a business is quite easy now, like in the past. Before it takes 5 years to build a very big business. Now it's been shortened to about 18 months. Within 18 months, you can build a super business. Yeah. E-flyers, then digital marketing. Digital marketing is a effective form of marketing, whereby if you go this route, your customers are guaranteed. In fact, you can do it in such a way, design it in such a way that you filter the kind of people you want. It's guaranteed form of marketing. People who are consultants in this area, they tell you that, look, we guarantee you 12 clients every week. If you don't get 12 clients every week, we return your money. So, and you can even go online to study digital marketing. With digital marketing, you can sell anything. You can sell anything because it's guaranteed. The clients are guaranteed. The type, define your clients, you get them. And the number, you will get them. So it's very key. So the issue of how do I get customers in this client does not arise anymore. The customers are always there. If you know the number of people that are in this world, and you are able to get across to them. The issue of getting a customer is a thing of the past. Please let me know if I'm overshooting my time so I can, yeah.
Yes, sir, you are.
Oh, okay. Okay. I think I'm almost done. So, all right. Sorry. Okay. How many minutes do I have now?
Well,
oh, it's gone.
It's gone. Yeah, but yeah, if you can just round up. Yeah. So
Okay. In the next, in the next 2-3 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Quickly. Sorry. Should I quit my job to start a business? You know, where this is, I would say no. You don't have to quit your job to start your business. The reason being that if you don't plan, planning is key. One, how do you plan savings? You can save. Maybe say, okay, these savings will take me for 6 months or 1 year. Then you can arrange with your wife or family. So, okay, one of you will be doing full time while one will be building the business, or you can keep your current job, reduce the days or hours of current job. Yeah. So what this means is that there must be a transitional arrangement. Do not quit your job because you are starting business. Otherwise, you get frustrated and get back. So then it's important training and development is key for your business to grow. Mentorship, you can get in touch with people who are in that type of business. Then for guidance and mentorship, peer review, meaning that people, if you have started the business, you can kind of share information, kind of meet your colleague to say, okay, you know what, I'm having challenges in this area. How did you do it? So, and I think, thank you so much. Question and answer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy Balo, for that wonderful narration. So, Mr. Balo have quite highlighted a lot within his time of speech. He's talked about active income, passive income. He's talked about desire and passion. He's talked about forms of businesses. He's also looked at how to get office spaces and getting customers. I mean, it's really touched a whole lot during the short time. So I want to use the opportunity if you've got questions and answers as regards to everything Mr. Billip has spoken about. This is time to satisfy your curiosity. The floor is open. Questions? Any questions so far? We'll be taking 15 minutes for question and answers before the next speaker.
I have a question. Yeah. Yes, please. Good evening. My question is, although I joined late, but my question is just regarding finding space. You know, it's so difficult to get a premises. You know, it's because most of the time it's always, because you are not. You're a new person in this business, so we are sorry. We are giving the premises to somebody who is very good or who's done this before. So most of the time, I keep on wondering, those who are fresh starters, are they not going to get a place? Won't they start one day? And that is just a problem for me. And I really want to know how it can be solved, despite going through agencies and agents and things like that. You still can't get a space. It's always people with experience is always preference. And I don't know how you can help, how one can get a space or premises for the kind of a particular kind of business, you know, that everybody really, I mean, in the market today, 3-4 people want to do it, but it is always given to those who have 1 branch or 2 branches before they're not even considering fresh starters.
Over to you, Mr. Bello.
Okay, yeah, I've had instances like that. Some of our clients have had situations like this. Yeah, like I said, it depends on the stage your business is. If you are just starting, I think you might not really need a space. It's really not that important. If you are starting small, you can have online presence, maybe start from home. But if you must have a space, if you it's such that you must need a space, yeah, well, and because of the fact that from what you have said, it's like a new business, starting a new business. Usually what we do is to do a kind of a plan, business plan. So most landlord, they ask for business plan for new businesses just to ensure the viability. So we have assisted clients in that regard to be able to design a plan for them, come up with a business plan to demonstrate the viability of that business. But at the end of the day, it depends on the owner of the premises. The final decision rests with them. So obviously is basically the decision of the premises. But another way is to, you can approach the council, wherever council the area of the council you live, you can register with them because they have premises that people for businesses. So once you list your name, when they have availability or vacant space, they will contact you and bid for such a space. I hope I've been able to.
Thank you. I've done all those as well, but I still can't find a space. Well, it's okay. But I mean, I just thought probably, you could just give me something, an idea that I really don't know. Because regarding space, going through the council, going through business plan, I've done all those. I have those, but it's just, and it's a kind of business that it's not something that I want to start from home.
Okay, so but it shouldn't still stop. It shouldn't be a barrier. That's what I'm trying to say. You can build a website. You can have a website and you link up with people online, and if it's something you need to deliver, if it's delivery or services, then you can. Like most of our clients, I will say about 50%, we haven't seen them before. They are even not within our geographical area. We still relate online, and yeah, that's it. But not having a space, it should not be a barrier to start your business.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bello, somebody said in the chat, could you tell us about incubation period in business, if any? What is your advice on managing it, as most people get frustrated and quit? Incubation period?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I said it. Where do I quit my job to start a business? One thing, experience. One advice I will always give is this: planning is key. Planning is very key, because if you start a business,
sorry,
you muted yourself.
Mr. Bello, you muted yourself.
Yeah. No, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I said planning is key. So the whole idea is that you must put a plan in place to transit from your current source of income to your business. For instance, you could save. Part of planning could be saving. You have saved enough. That saving will say, okay, I want to start a business. You keep money aside that will take you maybe 6 months or 1 year. You say, I'm going to go full time and start this business. So these savings I've got will take me 6 months or 1 year, but it's a time to go low, not living an extravagant life. I just cut down on a lot of expenses and all of that. Or alternatively, if you don't have such saving, you could reduce your working hours. In my case, while I was starting my business, I was still working, but I opted for permanent night. So I was working in the night, then I run my business. So with that, it got to a point where my business was not able to pay my basic bills. So it was at that point that I quitted the job I was doing. Otherwise, especially if you have a family, you cannot be telling your family that you are running a business. And that is why you are not able to make arrangement, And also, what also helped was the fact that my wife was full-time, working full-time. That was working part-time because obviously because of the business, So we were able to manage until I became stabilized, and yeah. So that is why I said there should be a transitional arrangement. The key point is that you must have a source of income while running your business, because frustration will definitely set in. It's not a 100-meter dash. Starting a business is not a 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. So there are times you get frustrated. You want to say, okay, should I really go ahead? But is that your strong desire that will keep you going, that will help you to overcome all the challenges? Running a business is challenging.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. May we take questions from Shewa, please? Your hand is up.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. It's at this point, it's not a question actually, but my contribution. Yes, please.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
The other lady, I didn't get her name, did raise her concerns. Olayinka raised her concerns about the space. So that's what I just want to talk about.
Okay.
Depending on your business, it is not one thing fits all. And it's not every business that you can run from home. So I could understand where you're coming from, that your type of business, you cannot run it from home. But if we are just guessing around what that business could be, we may not be able to suggest something more appropriate for your own concerns. So you need to engage with someone who can understand your business and be able to direct you in the right path. So if your business, if the nature of your business is such that you desperately need a space, outside of your home to run it, then there will be a way out, definitely. Yes, there'll be hurdles because you're new. Just like some landlords will not rent out their property to someone that wants to use it for residential purposes because they're new, you understand? But they would just require a guarantor. And once you have that guarantor, yes, they will consider renting the property to you. And the same with business. If they say that because you're new in business, they do not wish to take that risk. They may just ask for a guarantor, they may ask for collateral. And as has been said by the speaker, you may look out for other places. But to say that there is nowhere, I'll find it very difficult, to agree, because I consider myself an entrepreneur and I've rented properties, so definitely, even when I started, I've rented properties, but it depends on individual cases like that. So when you expand, and explore your particular situation with someone that is knowledgeable, they will be able to advise you. But I could see that the speaker was really struggling because he couldn't gauge exactly what the nature of your business is. So that's why
D1, it's a D, I don't mind saying it, it's a D1 premises. It's for a nursery school. And honestly, yes, it's, and if you get me one, because why I'm saying this is I have tried and I have not been able. I see premises, I see D1 properties, but even with everything that I have, it's not that I don't have money for it. They would still tell me that, oh, sorry, it is not, they've given it to somebody who has experience. And those people, they've already had 2-3 branches, and yet they continue to give them.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't have qualifications for it. It's not that I don't have the money for it. And it's not that I don't have all the requirements for it, but they will still tell me, even if it is a guarantor that is needed, I have somebody that can stand for me, but that's not even what they want. All is just every time it is, oh, sorry, we do not have, we're giving it to somebody who has experience.
Okay.
So if I'm able to get one from here, I will be really glad.
Okay. On that note, I would say that I'll drop my email address with TRG, and you can get it off them. And I will put you in touch, because I've actually supported people setting up their nurseries and all that. So there are opportunities. And you said you've got some funds as well. You've got the credibility. There are lots of opportunities.
Oh, yes.
For nursery, yes. And you will get one.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Shewa, for that
Thank you.
help. I'll take a last question before we move on to the second speaker. Someone's raising up their hands, but I can see the name. It says iPhone. If you're raising up your hand at the moment, can you please speak up? Be the question or contribution.
I'm not raising up my hands, but I want to ask a question.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
Sorry, it's me, the iPhone. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my name is Sayo Olatuji anyway. My question go direct to Mr. Roy. Bro Roy, please, is it possible for Bro Roy to differentiate between, because when we are talking about the business, is Bro Roy can help us to differentiate between self-employed and setting up a business? Because both of them in this UK, they will have the UTR number from HRMC. So can Bro Roy help us to differentiate between both of them, please?
Okay. Yeah, I'm talking of forms of business. You have a sole trader. To be a sole trader means that the business and yourself is the same. There is no difference, And to register a sole trader business, you need to register it through HMRC, and they will send you a letter containing your reference. That reference is called UTR number. Then for limited liability company, it is set up in a different way. In other words, you set it up in company's house. You set it up in company house, and they are going to give you your choosing name if it's available. That is what you set it up with. Then the company will have its own UTR number, which is true. It will have its own, which UTR number is just reference. Meaning if you are contacting HMRC concerning your business as a sole trader, That is the reference number. If it's your limited company, it's still the same reference number. It's a reference number for the company. That's the difference. Now, a limited company are some of the a lot of mistake, mix up. We see, we hear every day is the fact that when someone has a limited company, he will say he's self-employed. No, if you have a limited company, you are no longer self-employed. You are employed. For instance, I run a limited company. My business is a limited company. So I'm not self-employed. I'm employed because every month my company pays me. My company, myself and my company, we are different. You know, any money coming to the company is not my money, it's the company's money. Is the what I take from the company, that is what I earn as income. So in other words, if I want to send my tax return, I will send my own personal tax return using my UTR number, which is the HMRC reference. Then the company will also send its own tax return to the HMRC using that the company reference or UTR. So that is the difference. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bello. Thank you very much. At this juncture, we want to bring in the second speaker. If there is any other question as regards Mr. Bello's session, that can be taken towards at the end of the second speaker. We can just combine the whole questions together. Well, at this moment, let me introduce Mr. Chan Gandam, a broker and property manager, and currently the CEO of Chancery Consultants Limited. He will be talking to us about investment. Mr. Chan, welcome to the platform.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Roy, as well. Just to introduce myself, my name is Chan Gandam. As Adrian said, I work closely with Roy. So we'll go through the basics of investment, starting with cash, bank savings, different type of ISAs, and then we'll go to, I think, what's the favorite in UK, which is property investment, which I think largely is the biggest type of investment in UK. I'll just go on to share my screen and get my PowerPoint up. Can everybody see that? Is that a yes? Can you see that? Good. Yes. Okay. So yes, currently CEO, Chancery Consultants Limited, which is a mortgage and commercial brokerage. I'm also director of Chancery Capital, which is a bridging and lending company. And we also have a partnership in an IFA firm, which does ISAs, investments and pensions. So I've got nearly 20 years of property finance and sales experience, born in UK. My family actually come from property investment background, largely in the Midlands, which is Birmingham and Wolverhampton. I started off in accountancy like Roy, but didn't stick to it and moved on to finance. Started off with the AAT and worked for a solicitor's firm for about 5 years, and then set up by myself, managing my own property business and going on to start my own finance company. I've currently got 20 advisors who I manage. So I'd like to think I know my strong point is finance for property. That's where my skill set lies. FCA regulated, of course. So I probably won't be giving any quirky, quick, get rich schemes, I'm afraid. So it will all be quite strict and straight and narrow. And yeah, I have my own portfolio as well. So first, savings and investments. Let's do the standard kind of putting your money in the bank, and interest levels are kind of at the lowest levels they've ever been, I think. So putting your money in the bank and saving is the first step to making investments. So the only shortfall from cash ISA or saving with your bank in a savings account is obviously the interest return that you're going to get. At the moment, I think you'll struggle to get 2% from the bank. You can, if you want to be a little bit creative, you can do a stocks and shares ISA. Again, I'm guessing everybody's bank will offer this kind of service. Probably you will get a bit more back for your money. You have innovative finance ISAs, where again, it's in an ISA wrapper, a little bit riskier than even a stocks and shares, but your returns will be slightly more. I'm not going to quote returns on this because ISAs and risk levels are a complicated thing. So it would be on an individual basis on how you want to invest, just a generic, basically. This one that I'd like to point out, again, to do with property, lifetime and help to buy ISAs. This is quite an interesting one at the moment. The government, if nobody's got this or doesn't know about this already, that you can save in this and the government will actually give you 25% of the amount that you save up to a certain amount every year. So this is quite a good one to start building your savings towards a deposit. Let's go to that. So you can invest up to 20,000 in a ISA every year, junior ISA up to 9,000, and every year that resets. So you've got your tax allowance for your cash ISA. So holding wealth in cash is the right thing to do. If it's money you need right away or for the short term, a potential issue may arise when cash becomes a long-term investment, and that, oh, let me see, I can't get my screen there because, let me put this down to the bottom. There we go. Becomes a long-term investment, and that's the reality for many cash ISA savers. So if returns on your cash ISA savings aren't keeping up with inflation, that's the problem with long-term cash savings. You would want to start looking at stocks and shares ISAs to give you a higher return, although there's a higher risk with it because you're obviously investing in the stock market at that point. Some investors may become anxious. So putting lump sums into investments would obviously make you a little bit anxious, and particularly when there's market volatility. But if you have the view of stocks and shares, like any investment over the long term, I believe over the last 10 years is an average return of 10% on a stocks and shares ISA, according to the FTSE 100. So over the long term, you will gain. Short term, you will get market volatility. Even professional investors can't predict the market. So there's always going to be some market volatility that you need to account for. And like I say, I've got to put a little quota there. Each client would be set. So these days, when you go to a financial advisor, they will sit you down and they will look at your risk profile. So when talking about investments, it's really difficult when you're on a platform like this because it really is individual to the person. So depending on your risk profile, so there's a few questions that put you on a platform. There's this clever bit of software that we use and financial planners use, and they will say, okay, you're medium risk, so we're going to give you investment bonds, for example, because they're government backed. It's between 4 to 6% return. That's where your risk profile sits. So that's how financial advisors will kind of determine what your risk level is. So investments are heavily regulated, and rightfully so, because you have loads of different platforms where you can do direct investments. So there's not only these ISAs, you can do direct investments like through companies like eToro. Maybe people have heard of this, eToro, and there's Nutmeg, where you can actually go on and invest different platforms and do copy trading, where experienced people are showing you how they trade. You can invest 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 pounds, and you can just copy how they trade to get their kind of return. So you're gaining from somebody else's experience, because I'm not pretending to be the best investment person in the world, and I'm sure you guys are not as well. So It gives you the chance to kind of copy other traders and start really small. You've also got direct investment, which is for the likes of, you know, Facebook and Amazon. Amazon's had amazing gains. And also what you want to try and distinguish is whether you're investing for capital growth when you're trying to build a portfolio, or for income. Like I think Roy mentioned passive income. So if it's passive income, you would specify that you want a kind of a monthly or a yearly income. If it's for capital growth, you'd want to put your money into something, and you don't mind if you make money for the short term, but in 20 years time, you need an XYZ lump sum. You've got peer-to-peer investments, which are basically investing in platforms like, maybe people have heard of Funding Circle. They do a lot of business lending. You have bridging firms like my own, which are lending platforms, which you can borrow into, and they will take your money and give it to somebody else and give you a good level of return, from 5 to 7% or 4 to 7%. Then you've got things like quirky things, cryptocurrencies, which is, yeah, all the rage at the moment, Bitcoin, and the likes of these things, which I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in, and probably the darker side of regulation, although there are massive returns along with foreign exchange. There's a lot of platforms out there that offer training for foreign exchange. I'm not one of them, I'm afraid, so I'm not trying to sign you up to anything. But yeah, so foreign exchange is another thing, which is well, you've got a lot of platforms out there where you can make money on this, but I would say, you know, start small, don't make any big investments. And if you've got the experience and the education behind you, there's nothing stopping you do that. General rule of thumb, just to quote her again, and you know, the higher the return, the higher the risk. That's normally the case with investments. And some things are too good to be true. So somebody's offering you a 15% return or a 20% return, most likely you probably won't see your money ever again. So that's how it's highly unlikely you're gonna get those levels. And if I would just say a quote to that: if it doesn't feel right in the tummy, normally it's not right. There's no get rich quick scheme. So just to touch on to what we do at Chancery Consultants. So largely we're residential mortgages and finance based, and that's where my skill set lies. So I just want to cover a little bit about mortgages, as property investment is the main thing in UK. So there's different types of, obviously, purchases for property. First and foremost is getting on the ladder, which is a residential mortgage. And residential mortgage is all based on your income. So the house that you live in categorically is your residential mortgage. Now, if you live in the house, the only way to get a loan for that mortgage is on your income. So for example, if you're earning £20,000, the maximum you will get on that £20,000 is a loan of 100,000. It's quite simple. From 4.5 to 5 times your income is the loan amount you would get. Very, very easy for everybody to work out. Another point I'd touch on is credit reports, which Roy rightfully so made a really good point about. Along with your income comes your credit report. Now, credit report would be based on what your monthly commitments are. What do we look for monthly commitments? That's how much do you owe on your credit cards and how much do you have on your personal loans. So if you've got personal loans or car finance, that all affects the amount of loans. So hence why I've gone from 4.5 to 5. 5 being the maximum, 4.5 is roughly the lowest depending on your deposit level. And then it will be deducted further if you've got personal loans or large credit cards. And then deducted further according to your credit scoring. So credit report is really important to make sure that you've got no late payments. And let me just give you an example on how crucial credit reports are. If you've made a late payment within the last 12 months on your credit card, no high street lender will accept you. They will only accept you on a referral basis. So that means Barclays, NatWest, Halifax, Nationwide, especially through coronavirus, one late payment, one mistake, and trust me, I've done this myself, so I know how painful it is. I've looked after my credit report really well, paid off my credit card, and forgot that the next month is going to have some interest. And then they charge the interest the next month, me thinking that I've paid my credit card, I had a late payment. That stopped me from getting a mortgage for at least 12 months because it dropped my score that much. So credit report is fundamental in getting your mortgage and finance. Just want to put that out there. And the next point, buy-to-let mortgages. This is not based on income. Nothing to do with income, purely on the deposit, which is 25% as a minimum. You can get 20% deposits on a buy-to-let property. But largely this is down to the rental that you get on that property. And also, again, your credit. And there is an affordability check. The affordability check would be based on whether you can cover your outgoings on a monthly basis. Again, if you've got let's say £12,000 income, but you've got £500 worth of payments on personal loans a month, that would probably go against you. But buy-to-let is a lot easier than this first residential mortgage that you would do, which is based on income only, I'm afraid. You can also buy in individual name or limited company, which is all the rage at the moment, because on buy-to-let on an individual name, you cannot claim back your mortgage interest as an expense anymore. However, you can on a limited company. Not to say either one is better or worse. It depends on your personal circumstances. Normally, if you want to get a good rate for a buy-to-let mortgage, you would want about 25,000 earned income. It has to be earned income for a buy-to-let mortgage. But that's so that would get you the best rates in the market, 25,000 minimum income. And then also the way they calculate the loan would depend on your tax band of 20 or 40%. They stress the mortgage in different ways. I'll probably get some questions on that, so I'm ready for that. First-time buyers through coronavirus have been restricted to 10 to 15% deposit, and also loan multiple incomes are normally 4.5, which is really unfair for first-time buyers. So when you go with a lower deposit, the lender, when you're a first-time buyer, kind of restricts the amount of multiples they give you, just because it's the first time you're taking a loan on, and they're not sure whether you will be able to service the amount of loan you're taking on. So not all lenders, but as a general rule of thumb, the background calculation is done on 4.5 times income. This is a big one at the moment, 5% deposit scheme that the government released. Now, when this came out, I got to tell you, my phone went crazy. So the budget came out and everybody thought that they're going to get a house for free, like the government grant scheme, that literally, you don't need any income, you don't need anything, the government's going to back the loan and you get a 5% deposit and off you go. No, I'm really sorry to say it's all down to income still. The only difference is, like I said here, at the moment, you need a 10 to 15% deposit. All the government scheme does is that it allows you to put a 5% deposit, but the fundamentals are the same. Income is needed at 4.5 to 5 times income. So even though the government's telling the banks that you need to offer 5% deposits, the banks are still saying that the clients or the customers need to have the 4.5 to 5 times income to cover the balance of the mortgage. So all the government's doing, a lot of literature here, but all the government's doing is essentially backing the banks to give you that loan in the background, not giving you the benefit of the 20% that they back in the background, which is a shame, really. It could have been a different way, but they might change this as they go along. But this is kind of the criteria that they've put at the moment, which is in the background, the government will kind of cover the 20% and the client will put the 5% in. But you still need to cover 95% of the mortgage with your income. We'll touch back if anybody's got questions on that later, but yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. I was going to stop you anyway. So,
okay.
Thank you for sharing your expertise on investment routes, on various investment routes. Without wasting much of our time, it's time for question again. I'm going to give 15 minutes to questions. Please, Mr. Roy, any question should not take more than probably 2 minutes to answer. So, questions. Always open.
And the question that I wanted to ask,
while you can go ahead,
is about this. It's not about the property, but it's about self-employed stuff that Roy made mention of. If you are a self-employed, and then you are getting, you are sending your tax return every year. Is it that you just discover and then you are paying the NI contribution? Then later you just discover that they don't take that NI again, NI contribution again. What is going to happen? What are you going to do?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Okay, I started, my job, and I was even doing it. After 2 years, somebody said to me that I have to inform the Inland Revenue, and then I started, paying by direct debit. But I just discovered later that they stopped. They stopped, taking the NI contribution. They have this fishermen. They have the ordinary one that you need to be paying every month. So what do we do? Because I am still working as a self-employed. Then Roy said that he is not even a self-employed because the business is limited. I don't get it, because it's me. I'm the one, doing my task, doing my account, and I will send to Inland Revenue, and then they will now, send back to me what I needed. I've been doing it since 2009 up to today. So which one is self-employed, and which one is limited liability?
The question is actually for Mr. Bello.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Can I answer her now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So basically, I think your concern is the fact that NI is not being, you are not paying NI anymore.
Yes.
Yes. What happened? Before now, the NI used to be sent by post to everyone.
2 minutes, Mr. Bello, please.
Yeah, NI used to be sent to everybody by post, but as about 3 or 4 years back, those NI are now to be paid through your tax return. So there's a threshold of your profit that if that threshold is low, below the NI threshold, then you won't pay NI.
Okay.
If your profit is above a certain threshold before NI will kick in, that is the reason. Okay. I think your profit is below the NI threshold.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bello. I've got Olaide Eusebio raising up your hand. Okay. Can you ask a question now, please? Question or contribution?
Question. Thank you. My question is really for Mr. Khan, which apologies if I'm pronouncing that wrongly. Thank you so much for the things that you've spoken through. Really interesting subject for myself. I think one of the questions that I'd like to ask now is, for someone who's looking to build a kind of a property portfolio, what would you advise? What would be the starting point?
So first I would ask, essentially, you own your own property to start with?
I am looking to buy, but it's just one of those things because I'm employed, but I'm looking to
start investing into property. So
yes.
Yeah. So what I would say is that it's the same like any investment. First, the amount that you're looking to invest, and secondly, are you looking to invest for like a monthly rental income? So what is your idea in 5 years' time? Do you want to build up an income of 1,500 to 2,000 to 3,000 pound a month? Or are you more concerned about your property going up in value? Because there's two different aspects. So once you've sorted that point out, you would then look at, okay, this is how much I have available right now, and whether you want, then we can start looking at where you want to invest, whether it be up north or in London. London obviously require a larger investment just because of the property prices. But then, yeah, you would look at the amount you've got to invest, what your goals are, i.e. Income or capital growth. Capital growth would be more London-based, although Liverpool, Manchester, and these kind of areas have gone up in the last 5 years. But predominantly those areas give you more yield. Yield means the amount of income you would get from the property, rental income.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. I suppose if I need to kind of explore this more, there's a way that I can kind of get in contact with you because I've got
absolutely
so many questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's difficult to do this because I've just give generics, but of course my daily is helping and building people to either do investments through property, and that's, like I say, where my skill set is. And if you want to do investments in ISAs and wrappers and investment bonds, I have colleagues who specialize in that as well. So definitely I will leave my details with the Rural Gems, and then we can pick it up from there, definitely.
Excellent. Thank you ever so much. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Laide.
Sorry.
I'll take a question from. Hello?
Sorry, please, can I read out some questions from the chat?
Sure, fire away.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So someone said, what about if you're UK based? No, he said UK based abroad, but I think maybe the person is a UK citizen but living abroad, and he wants to buy a property, buy to let in UK, but he's not working in the UK. Is that
yes,
possible?
It's absolutely fine. There are lenders that do it. Again, it's down to personal preference. So the simple answer is yes, but it's down to the person on what their profile is, that who will say yes to them. But I would say that for the sake of this, the rate would be between 3 to 5.5% on what they would get the loan on. That's the simplest way to answer that. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then another question is on the buy to let, since it is not based on income, what level of deposit is required if a limited company is used to get the mortgage?
No problem. So deposit as a standard rule of thumb is 25%. 25% of the value of the property. However, there are lenders at the moment that have come back into the market, which have been out the market because of coronavirus, and they will accept 20%. But minimum, I would say, to get a decent rate is 25%. If you're pushed, you can buy something for 20%, but the maths for the rental have to work out. What does that mean? Predominantly, you can't buy in London with a 20% deposit. You will probably be able to buy from Midlands up. So Midlands, Manchester, Liverpool, you probably could buy a property for 20%. And the lower deposit you put in, the higher the rate becomes. So it would be around 3.5% plus for a 20% deposit, and it would be around 2% for a even less than 2% for a 25% deposit, as long as the rental and the maths work out.
All right.
Okay. Another question: Can one invest in the first buy-to-let property without having a residential mortgage?
Roy's nodding his head. Like I will say again, as a standard rule of thumb, it's a no. Roy's correct. It's no. You need to own your own property first. However, there are ways to do it, but it would still be income-based. So, for example, I'll just use Roy as an example because he's the first person there. Roy's son or daughter, who's 25 or 30 years old, is living at home with Roy and has 25 to 30,000 income. That's a valid excuse for them to go for a first-time buy-to-let. They still need 25 to 30% deposit, and it will still be income-based, but you can use the rental income to get you a higher loan amount. But the case has to make sense. You can't be renting a property and then saying, I'm going to do a first-time buy-to-let investment property. That's going to be a straight no. So there are ways to do it. The general rule of thumb is you need to own a property. However, it depends on individual circumstances.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, Dr. Adrian, you can take over.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mary. I'll take a question from Afolabi Adeosun. Your hands have been up for a while now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Shan. That was very interesting. I really enjoyed that.
Good.
Shan, I have I'm just made retire from my civil service job, and I've got some money which I want to invest in property. The problem is that London is overcrowded for me and it's too pricey. I'm looking up in the north to see what I can do. Which area will you suggest? And more importantly, how can I spread? Because it's not just the property I'm looking at. I'm looking at where I can invest this, mainly in property, but spread it so that after about 10 to 15 years, then I'll be getting income. So growth for me at the present time and later on income. What kind of advice will you give?
Growth at the moment and later on income. Yeah. Well, so I'll just tell you what happened over the last 5 years and roughly where the growth areas are going forward. And then what you would do. See, when you're investing in property, the easiest thing to do is what you're comfortable with. So for example, myself, wherever I'm living, most of the time, that's where I'm investing because I know that area the best. I've got knowledge of other areas in the north, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester, also Mansfield, Leicester, because I have landlords who invest there. So I know second degree information from them that people have seen capital growth definitely in Birmingham. Birmingham has just gone, actually it's probably outpriced now. Some places in Birmingham are close to London prices. Manchester, I still think there's a little bit of room of growth in Manchester. Liverpool, probably some growth. But predominantly what's been in the press lately is areas like Leeds, Sheffield, so further north, which haven't seen the same level of investment that Manchester, Birmingham, and Liverpool is starting to see. But it's penciled in for government investment in the near future. So over the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see at the moment I've got large portfolio landlords who are buying buildings for the price of a house in London. So, 500 to 750,000, they're getting almost 10 to 15 flats, which are off-market purchases. They're experienced guys, but there's high yields in those areas. So really depends how comfortable you are. If you want to look at a building with a lot of return, or you want single units, which are just your standard terraced house or semi-detached house, which take less management, to be honest, as well. But again, I think it's a conversation we have after maybe, and look at what your preference is and which way you want to grow, and I can definitely try and help you.
Okay, so are you going to leave your detail behind?
Absolutely, I will leave them with the rural gems and.
Right, thank you,
guys. Usually at the please drop your email addresses in the chat box which I will have access to. So if you're dropping your email addresses, they will only be seen by me. And what usually happens is at the end of the meeting, we send out the information and the link. All the contacts of the speakers will be sent out via email to people who indicated interest or who dropped their email addresses. And also, if you have any further questions, you could contact me. I'll leave my phone number in the chat box for everybody to access. Thank you very much. And also the video recording will be uploaded onto our website. Although our website is currently under development, we're updating our website. So we will upload to YouTube and send out the YouTube link to every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the enlightenment. Shewa, you have a question? You're muted.
Thank you. Just a contribution. With the last question from Mr. Adeosun, my contribution will be based on experience that yes, you're trying to get properties at the lowest value and also have a high yield. If you live in London and you want to buy up north, be sure you can travel there because you would need to manage the property one way or the other. Or if you want to outsource the management, that is another cost to bear in mind. So because traveling to attend to the needs of your tenants might be a bit of an issue. So you consider that. Then if you can look at the LHA, that is the local housing allowance table for each council, okay? You may not wish to rent out your property through the council, but it's a useful guide. I've found it very useful because I'm quite comfortable renting out my properties through the council, because to an extent, my rent is guaranteed, and I need that safe net. But whatever you see on the LHA, it will be higher when you get to the market, the open market, okay? So if a flat now is being rented through the council, you rent it out through the council for like 500 a month, then outside could be 600, you understand? But renting through the council is something you have to make a decision about, it's a personal decision, but just weigh it that way, look at the LHA and see, even before you buy the property, whether it can cover, whether the cost can be covered, So that's just my suggestion. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Shewa.
Oh,
I'll take a question from Mr. Tabi.
Mama.
Mr. Tabi.
Is he on mute?
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted, actually.
That's okay.
My question is for Chan. I would like to know your views on investing in shares. And did you have a number of companies that you think one can invest in this part of the world? One, your views on shares and those companies that you think someone can invest in.
Yeah. So Mr. Tabi, like I said, I'm not pretending to be an expert in investing in companies and shares because it's a dangerous advice forum to be giving advice on that. So direct investment in companies is basically like an investment manager's job, which SJP is above my pay grade, I'll tell you the truth. So no, I wouldn't be able to, I'm sorry, advise you on which companies to invest in. Nope, no.
But generally, what are your own views on?
So my own views are depending on your risk appetite. There's companies out there which are like Amazon, Facebook, and the big players, which are generally quite safe, right? So they're generally quite safe. The trajectory is up. You can get some data on that kind of stuff. But I can only tell you from my personal experience, I don't invest directly into companies or take share dividends as such. I leave it to another part of the company. So that's why I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly which companies to invest in or not. But of course, the data's out there, so that would be on your own preference, to be fair. So I will shy away from that question.
Right. That's fair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chan, for your honest response.
No problem.
Ola Christine Mustafa, you have a question for us?
Okay, it's actually not a question. It's just thank you for the presentation. It was fantastic, very impressive as well. Just to add on to what Shewa said earlier on, Engineer Adeosun is a friend. I'm surprised that it is supposed to be based in Dubai, but I wanted to encourage what Shewa said. I tend to know a lot about it as well. That is the renting to the local authority, but it's just a company that you need to Google, which is called Capital Lettings. They actually deal with anything to do with local authorities. Local authorities don't even want to get involved in properties. They're trying to get rid of it. They don't want to do that job. So they've allocated it to Capital Lettings now that you can do a lot. There's a lot of business. But I will speak to Engineer Adeosun about it later. So that's just to verify, to say,
clarify.
To, what Shewa said. Thank you so much. Fantastic.
Okay, Ola, I look forward to you speaking to me.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ola.
I'll speak to you later.
Thank you, Ola.
Yeah, thank you.
So, any more questions? If there are no more questions, is anyone still having any more questions for us before we navigate to another?
Brother Roy is yet to tell me the difference between self-employed and the other one, because he said he cannot call himself, a self-employed. The government is not the one that, employed you. I don't know why he's saying that somebody is paying him. So I need to know about that.
Okay. Basically, self-employed means that you're running business by yourself. It could be in your name. It could be in your name, right? For me, my business name is Pathway Accountancy Limited. Yeah?
Yeah.
That is a limited company. So Pathway Accountancy Limited has employed me. I'm working for Pathway Accountancy Limited. So because as a limited company, the company is separate. It has its own legal entity from myself, compared to if I'm a self-employed. If I'm self-employed, it will be in my name. It will be Roy Bello, trading as whatever. But in this case, I have a limited company, Pathway Accountancy Limited, and I'm working for Pathway Accountancy Limited. So I'm not self-employed.
Where is that person? Who is the person?
No, it's a legal entity. The limited company is a legal entity on its own, separate from yourself.
Where you are using your name to register the business, what do you call that one?
It's self-employed, as long as the word limited is not there.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Not yet clear.
Okay, you can call me. You can call me personally.
If you can, because I am even planning to come to your office tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I will explain it to you to make it clearer. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Bello, for your efforts. And, Yeah. Okay, Shara, any more contribution?
Sorry, please. I would like to know the name of the lady. This is Yinka Koka. I would like to know the name of the lady who said I should get in touch, or she was going to leave an email address. Anyway, I've sent in my email address and my name through the box.
We've got it.
Okay. Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. We've got it.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay. Shall I have your hand up?
Yeah.
Can I speak? Can I speak to Chan? Question for Chan again, if you don't mind.
Okay, is that Mr. Folabi?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Chan, sorry, I'm picking on you because you gave such an interesting presentation. I'm glad
you enjoyed it.
I did. I mean, it kind of elicited a number of questions, but I'm going to keep it very short.
Okay.
Talking about residential, but in the portfolio arena, there's the commercial and land. You didn't mention anything on that. What is your take on commercial properties?
So commercial is right now permitted developments and the rights to change commercials over within permitted planning development, restructuring from commercial to residential, definitely a good investment and definitely a way forward, especially with the high street not going so well right now. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I just didn't get to the commercial part because I think I was rabbiting on for too long, but there you go. The only thing with commercial, the deposit size is bigger than what you would need for a standard residential buy-to-let. So as a standard, commercial would require about 30% deposit. And also the type of lending becomes a little bit more complicated, but definitely a good investment. But I'm not sure if it's somewhere where I would advise that people to start on a commercial investment, maybe a residential buy-to-let to start with and get the understanding of how things are worked out and move on to a commercial. But is there something in specific you want? Anything else?
No, again, it's just trying to get this knowledge because these are, as you say, you mentioned a key point there, the time factor. We're in this COVID period now, shops are closed, so residential and commercial become very, very cheap because people are losing their business. This thing become very open. So there's an opportunity there in that respect.
Absolutely, because the government's actually eased. So let me give you an example. So for example, there's a shop that's closed down on a high street. Before, you couldn't just change that closed down shop from an estate agent's to a hairdresser's, from a hairdresser's to something else. Now that's all been laxed on the way that they accept the different types of plannings, and maybe somebody else might, be able to share some further details on that. But yeah, so at the moment, it's a very good investment. It's just the financing is a little bit more complicated because it's on a specific basis on what you will do. Will you have a tenant? And if you're going to repurpose to, flat with two uppers, commercial with two uppers, or what your end goal is. So for example, if you're going to buy a shop with some like a floor on top and you want to change that to residential, what the lender will want to know is what rental you will receive at the end of your development. So it becomes a little bit more complicated in the way that you can secure the finance, but definitely an aspect to look at. You'll see that high street banks are selling off their high street branches in auctions, which make really, really good investments. But when you're buying from auction, you see these properties for sale, there's something called bridging finance, which becomes really expensive. So it's a completely different sector and one that you should be educated on before you get into.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I want to take a last question for now, taking from Godwin.
Okay. My first question is, somebody with a tier 4 visa, will the person be allowed to buy a mortgage within the UK? That's one. Number two, do you have any information with regards to leasing of farmland within the UK? If you want to lease a farmland for agriculture, yeah, Do you have any information on that?
No, I will shy away from that. I won't pretend I know about leasing farmland. That's for one. A tier 4 visa, does that allow you to work, or is that just
Yes, it allows you to work limited hours or week.
limited hours? Okay. Probably I would like to say yes. How long or what's the expiry date on the visa? Is it more than a year?
It's about 3.5 years visa.
Yeah, there should be a possibility then, yes. There would be somewhere we could explore.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Sorry, Dr. Adrian. Dr. Adrian.
Okay.
There's a Frank.
Hello, sorry, I would like to help in that area. I'm a solicitor, and regarding the question the guy just asked for the tier 4, of course you answered correctly, you know, and everything still boils down to your income at the end of the day. That is the income in buying the premises. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Hello?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, yeah, I said it still boils down to the money, your income, you know, that's, I mean, do you have this income? And also, if peradventure you have the money, like in lump, as long as you are able to let them know the source of the income, then you should be able to buy it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just because of money laundering and things like that.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, can I say something now? Because I think Ola took my space.
Quick one, Shara.
Thank you. Just a contribution. Well, from the lady that talked about, that called on Mr. Roy to explain again the difference between a sole trader or a self-employed person and a limited liability company. I'm glad she'll be seeing Mr. Roy tomorrow, which is fine. He will have more time to explain it. But just from a quick legal perspective, I'd want to say that a company is a legal entity. It's like a human being on its own, separate from whoever registered it. So if you take it like that, then you would know that you are different from your registered company, your limited company. You're different. And when you start earning money from that business, you are more or less like an employee of that company, okay? But I'll leave that with Mr. Roy to further explain to you. Then also touching on what Mr. Roy said when we started this conversation about passion. Yes, you might start your business with a passion, but it's more than a passion. It goes beyond passion. You have to look into a business that will be profitable at the end of the day. Whether it's a social enterprise, it should still be able to sustain itself, or if it's a business that you want to earn a living from, it should be able to sustain itself. So it goes beyond passion, because if we go into it with passion, we may not sustain that business. Passion is needed, but it's more than passion to make success of any business. Then with regards to the lease farm, I will again request that the person that needs that information should get in touch with TRG, and they'll give my email address. The name again is Shewa. I should be able to give you information about lease farms. There are actually lease farms out there. And I even know a Nigerian who is developing a snailry, getting a lease farm. So yes, there is evidence that you can lease a farm in the UK. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, just a quick clarification on that. What I mean by passion is the fact that, for instance, you may not have acquired or be trained in that area, but it's just interest. That could be a basis for you to go into that kind of business. For instance, I have a colleague who is an accountant, but he likes interior deco. That is a passion for him. He's not trained on it, but he just like interior decoration. So meaning that he can run a business as an interior deco, you know. So just to clarify, yeah, it's not passion in that sense. Just if determining how the type of business you want to go into. I gave the example of my wife, who was a banker, but he has passion for food and food related, you know. At a point, she had to quit her banking job and set up a catering business. You know? Yeah, I hope it's clarified now. Yeah.
Okay. I'll take a quick. I have one last speaker who's been looking to say some. One last person who's looking to ask questions. But before I take the final question, I would want to quickly invite Hashu from Sendwave to have 3 minutes on the platform. If you're there, Hashu.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Just want to say thank you so much to Chan as well, and the rest of everyone. Like, I am actually someone that is, fingers crossed, looking to get onto the property ladder soon. So just all things aside, I just want to say thank you so much for the amazing forum that you all have put together today. Just a little introduction about myself. So I am the marketing director for a company called Sendwave. We are a money transfer app that allow you to send money from the UK to Nigeria for 0 fees and 0 commission. The way we actually make money as an app is through the fluctuations within the market. And we're trying to change the way people send money back home to their loved ones. Our rates are like the best in the market as well. You can compare us to other apps like World Remit and Azimo. And today I just wanted to kind of tell you a bit more about the app for any of you that want to send money to Nigeria. We'd love for you to try us out. I actually have a unique promotional code that you can use to try out the app. It is Kiskareen10. I'm going to post it in the chat as well. The first person that uses this today, you'll receive £20 in account credit that you can use to send money to your loved one abroad. And after that first person, anyone else that uses the code, you'll receive £10 free credit on your first transfer. And this is kind of a loss leader model that we're currently using to try and connect to the Nigerian community and hopefully get you all excited and using the product. But yeah, if you have any questions about our app, I'd love to kind of answer anything in the chat, or if you'd like to connect with me afterwards, I'll leave my number and email. If you need any help signing up or anything like that, we'd love for you to check us out. But we have over 1 million downloads on Play Store and the same on the App Store. We're fully verified and approved by FinCEN as well, the financial institutions that monitor us. So yeah, we'd love for you to check us all out.
Thank you very much, Hashu. Thank you for
so much.
that advert. So yeah, I'm changing to Sendwave. I need that £20.
Yeah, be the first person to download it. If whoever the first person is to use that code today, you'll receive 20. So try and be the first person to get a hold of it.
All right.
Maybe you can make it 3 first persons then.
Ooh, I would love to. I would love to. But I can't. My hands are tied. But you know what? £10 is still a lot of money. So for free. So yeah, hopefully check it out. And yeah, any questions, just please do give me a shout.
All right.
So if we apart from the competition, you can still get £10 by just putting Kiskareen10 anytime, any day. £10 is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it's not just the competition, but £10 is. Yeah, but you get the first person to will get.
All right. Thank you, Sandwich. Thank you.
Brother Frank Nero was raising his hand.
Yeah, Frank Nero. Yes, I've got you in mind. You'll be my last question for this night. So you have the floor now. That'll be the last question.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, actually, I just want to ask a question. I think Shan said if you don't have a resident mortgage, you can buy a rent house to rent a property to rent for letting. So, for example, I don't have a house right now, and I want to go into investment property, like you go into buying a house from the auction, and you want to let it out. So is it possible for me to buy houses like that?
Yeah, the simple answer is yes. But again, it depends on your personal circumstances. So if you're living with family or if you're renting, it's a little bit more difficult. And especially if you're buying from auction, a standard mortgage wouldn't cut that. You'd need bridging finance.
Yes.
Bridging finance, you need a minimum deposit of around 30%. So how bridging works is that instead of a yearly rate, you will have a monthly rate. So for example, if you go to the auction, just put your hand up, I want to buy that property, you exchange on the hammer.
On the price, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, which means you got to complete within 28 days. There's no mortgage in this COVID scenario that is going to get you out of that scenario. And if you don't complete, there's penalties, you lose your deposit. So the only way to do that is by bridging finance. If you do bridging finance, you can definitely get a property as a first-time buyer, first-time buy-to-let, but you need the deposit. You need the deposit. And what would happen is, depending on what you want to do, if you're going to buy that property and sell it in 3 months' time, you might not need a normal mortgage because you're just going to make a quick profit.
Yes, that's what I want.
But the problem is most people cannot then get a loan on that property because you need to own it for 6 months, which means you need to kind of budget for the bridging finance for about 6 months. But if the property value is not too high, and you've got a bit of understanding how bridging works, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. But the rates are quite high. So just to give you an example, it can range from 0.5 to 0.6 to 1% a month.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all your contributions. It's been a very wonderful segment today. And I want to once again thank the speakers, Mr. Roy and Mr. Chan, for your wonderful intellectual speeches, and for all our contributors, Shawa, Ola, Mustafa, and all those who contributed in one way or the other. I also want to extend my thanks to you as the moderator of this segment, and to everyone who have also asked questions. I mean, that has this whole debate going. Thank you, everyone, for all your wonderful views. At this moment, I will just hand over to Mary the rest of the day to take over.
Okay, thank you, thank you so much to everyone for sitting patiently for about 2 hours now listening. We really appreciate your participation. I just want to make a few comments, a few announcements. The Rural Gems will be hosting another Meal on Me on Easter Monday. So for those of you who were not here at the beginning of the session, we at the Rural Gems provide culturally appropriate meals to disadvantaged people and families in London. So our next event will be on Easter Monday to provide such meals to families. And we are also carrying out a program called Catch Up and Feed Initiative, sponsored by Peabody Trust. And this initiative is about giving free one-to-one tuition to children from BAME background. And this is for us to be able to bridge the gap that COVID-19 lockdown has created in their learning over this 1 year period. So as we'll be providing the free one-to-one tuition to one child in a family, but we'll be providing meals, free meals for the entire family on specific days. So usually we do 2 hours of tuition for the children in a week. And then on Sunday, because that's the day I have time as the Deliveroo person who delivers the food, that's the day I have time to go around and deliver the food to their families. And also on the 11th of April, we'll be having a youth event tagged My Youth, My Pride. So I'll say it again. The youth event is coming up on April 11th. It's for our young people, and we've titled it My Youth, My Pride. So on that day, we'll be having speakers talk to the young people about what it means to be a youth and how to maximize your youthfulness. And also, we've got a number of London Metropolitan University students who are currently working with us at the Rural Gems as part of their work experience. So we're really excited to be working with all these individuals in TRG. So apart from that, there are no other announcements. I just want to conclude by saying once more, thank you very much. If you've got any family members or neighbors whom you think can benefit from this Catch Up and Feed initiative, please let them get in touch with me, because although we have just little funding at the moment, we are planning to have a bigger, we're planning to get a bigger funding to be able to extend this Catch Up and Feed initiative to a larger population or a larger number of children. So please let them get in touch with us. And also for the Meal on Me, if you have any disadvantaged families, no matter their ethnicity, that you think would benefit from this Meal on Me on Easter Monday, please also get in touch with me. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely week. Thank you to our speakers. Bye, everyone. Bye.
We have a winner. We have a winner. One of your members, somebody won.
Who?
Rennie.
Rennie, wow.